Hey guys, welcome back to the Official Visit podcast. Tyson Alger here with Andrew Greif and Oregon Center Jake Hanson. Everyone's a little ticked off at me right now because I screwed up the first mic version, so we'll get right to it. Jake, you just played your first game with the Ducks. You've already answered this once, but give us the quick run through about just what that experience was like.
First game was a lot of fun. Pre-game jitters leading up to that were pretty good, but as the week progressed, I got more and more comfortable, and then leading up to game time through warm-ups, got more comfortable. Pre-game jitters started to subside, and then once I actually got into the game, started hitting people, I just got more and more comfortable as the game went on, and I had a lot of fun. It's probably the most fun I've ever had playing football at any level, especially under all those fans in the Autzen Stadium. It was a really good time.
Sweet. Now that we have that run-through question out of the way, we can actually start breaking into this thing. So, Andrew, you got?
Well, you talked about pregame jitters. This is something. It's like a small fascination of mine of like how they go about preparing for each game. Some guys get super nervous. Some guys get super calm. Were those jitters different than even high school or even last year? Obviously, you're dressed, but you're not playing. What do jitters feel like for you? I mean, are you a guy who's a little manic before a game, or how do you feel?
I mean, I get pretty nervous before games, but not so nervous to the point where I can't function or like I'm puking in the bathroom before the game like some of my other teammates did last year. But I just have to calm myself down, not think about the game itself too much, know that I'm well prepared from the week before. I mean, I'm not trying to cram in more film before warm-ups or anything like that. I'm just trying to keep myself calm. But, once you actually get out to warm-ups and get on the field and start getting loose, that's when I'm able to ease in to what I'm doing and become more comfortable. And then after the first hit of the game, then it's just more and more comfortable from there. I mean, after you get a couple series in, it's just like practice from that point.
Is there anybody that you see that is like so visibly nervous before the game and then they just go play lights out? Like they're just always super jittery or,
I haven't seen anyone this year, but last year Tyson Coleman was a guy who would always have to puke pregame. And I don't know why. I mean, maybe that's just him, but yeah, he would always be that guy.
That's just because he had protein smoothie up to you.
Maybe.
I've heard of former Oregon coaches who had to do that before each game, so
Dang.
It's not like he's alone in that way. When you've been talked about a lot, finally kind of getting in there, your snaps look really good all game. Is that something, because of all the talk from the offseason about the high snaps in the Alamo Bowl, is that something that ever kind of seeps in, like, well, what if this goes wrong and then it goes wrong? Or are you able to just completely block it out?
Yeah, I was able to block it out completely. During the game, I never thought about my snaps. I just kept snapping like I always have in practice. It's muscle memory at this point. Yeah. So never thought about it, and obviously didn't have any bad snaps, so there was no reason to think about it. It's just clockwork at that point, just snapping the ball, running through my footwork, and going on to the next play.
How do defensive linemen, and you've only played one college game against opponents, but how do they try to throw you off?
Well, at least UC Davis, they were doing those late stems right before the play, trying to yell shift to get us to jump off sides, which obviously we did jump off sides the first play of the game. So that's something that they'll try to do. They'll try to do a lot of pre-snap motions and different things like that to try to throw us off so we don't know what we're doing and have to redirect things like protections and things like that.
So when Shane Lemieux jumped on that force, that was because they yelled shift?
Yeah, they did, because Shane was so ready to he said, you probably already heard this story, but he said he's thinking to himself, I'm going to get pancake first play, and he was so ready, he was all tensed up, ready to go, then they yelled shift, and he just jumped forward.
You guys give him crap for that?
Yeah, we did. Coach Wood came up to him after the game and was like, typical Shane Lemieux fashion, jumping off sides his first college play. And that's totally Shane. Shane's that type of guy too. It's just funny.
After the game, Greatwood said that he was up at 3:30 in the morning because he was, wondering about how you guys would do for freshmen. I don't think it was just you guys, obviously, but I'm sure there's some first game of the year things going on there too.
Yeah.
But he said he woke up at 3:30, watched the whole Boston College Georgia Tech game that started at 6 a.m. Because he couldn't go back to sleep.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah, yeah. But what was he like on game day with all these new guys?
I mean, Coach Wood seemed as calm and collective as ever. I mean, obviously he wasn't going to show us he was nervous because that probably would have made us more nervous than we already were. But, I don't think he was too disappointed from the game. Obviously, we played really sloppy and could have played a lot better, and we have a lot to improve on. But there was a lot of good things that we did, so I think he was happy for the most part about that. Just got to get a lot better for next week.
Yeah.
And I know what the answer is probably going to be, but when you guys have a team coming in like next week, like Virginia, that played exceptionally poorly last week against a very lower rung opponent. What was their first loss to FCS? Broncos' first loss to a FCS team in how many years? Ever, I think.
Coach, yeah, first loss ever.
Obviously, like the cliche answer is going to be like, we don't care about the opponent.
Yeah.
We don't look at the opponent, but like you had to have seen that score, right?
I actually didn't see the score. I just knew that they lost to Richmond,
right,
who I believe is a pretty good Division I AA team.
What's their mascot?
Spider.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
it.
I've actually watched them in a couple of FCS playoff games, so
Actually,
I know that they're pretty good.
I think they beat my Grizz before a couple of years ago, so they're a very good team.
Yeah. No, Richmond isn't bad, but still, they got beat by 17. I mean, that's
pretty bad.
They were out of it from the very get-go.
Oh, wow.
So, anyway, not to interrupt, but...
No, just like how hard is it to kind of like balance the, like last year, week 2, you're playing Michigan State, and I'm sure everyone's super amped up for that game versus, you're playing what many people would assume would be another kind of warm-up game.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm going to say the cliche answer because you can't take it lightly. I mean, I believe Washington State lost to Portland State last year,
right,
and then they came in and beat us in our house, so obviously it doesn't matter. I mean, usually in big games like this, other teams will play up to the competition, so obviously we're not taking this game in lightly because obviously the players are a lot better. So some of the things that we did get away with last week, and we were still able to move the ball even if we missed assignments or had a sloppy technique, we're not going to be able to get away with it this week. So we have to take this game just like we're playing a team like Michigan State or Nebraska, just like it's any other team.
You guys have I'm guessing a pretty lively locker room before the hand. Take me through that. Just like to give us a window into what the locker room's like. Does one guy grab the aux cord and like plug his iPhone in and play whatever he wants? Does one guy always have music? What's it like in the locker room right before a game, especially a season opener when it's like it's a big moment.
Well, when it's like right before the game, when people are actually starting to go out to pregame, that's when it's pretty quiet and everybody's in the zone. Everybody's going to have their own headphones in, things like that. But like once we get done with the March to Victory and everybody goes up and you don't have to get ready for a while, then some people are going to like be playing music like over the loudspeakers on the aux cord and things like that. But once it's game time, everybody's locked in. They're in their own zone, listening to their own music, things like that.
Does someone ever stand up and give that big cliche pregame speech? Is that Helfrich? Does he do that, or is he like a halftime speech guy?
Like a any given Sunday sort of like.
Is there a quote unquote big locker room speech before the game?
There's not a big locker room speech before the game. I mean, once we come in after warm-ups, before we're about to run out of the tunnel and all the smoke and all that, Coach Helf will say a little something, but it's not any big rah-rah speech. It's just, we prepared for this week. Let's go play our asses off kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's no big rah-rah speech. It's just fall back on your training, trust your training, and let's go. Play fast, play physical, let's get after it.
So this is something we talked to you a little bit about before we started recording, but the Marcus Mariota Center is now open. It's only been 3 years since the Hatfield-Dowling complex opened up, and when that opened up, that was like the belle of the ball, like all the bells and whistles, everyone playing catch-up. Does that feel like the old building now, and the new one kind of feels like... Do things feel outdated out there when you're rolling around on that $50,000 Nepalese rug? Or what?
Nothing feels outdated by any means, but I mean, if you think the HDC is high tech, the Marcus Mariota Center is, light years beyond that. It is so high tech. There's so many things there that I don't even know what they do, but I know it does something cool from a sports science standpoint. That it's awesome that we have the boosters that we do, and that we're so blessed to be able to have the facilities that we do.
Now, did they give you guys like a tour through it and like explain each and every little thing, or was it like, you'll feel free to walk through and check it out?
Yeah, they gave us a tour and they told us what things were, but there were a couple things that even after they told us, I still didn't really know what they were. I mean, there's like sensors under the ground and under squat racks to see how much like pressure we put on each foot or things like that, or how much pressure we can push through a blocking sled, 'cause there's a blocking sled in there too. There's a lot of crazy stuff.
Are you guys allowed to sit on the throne? Or is that
Yeah.
just for Phil?
Yeah, no, it's in the equipment room. I think that's it's probably some recruiting thing. Recruits can take pictures on the throne. It's pretty cool.
That'd be a pretty good recruiting picture.
Yeah,
right?
no, it's cool. Yeah, I did sit on it when I went through the tour. Yeah.
What was your recruiting trip like? I feel like everyone's different, but were you a guy who was like wowed by everything here, or were you like, I like wood and that's all that matters to me?
Yeah, I guess a little bit of both. When I first came here, I've never even really been to the area before. So when I came up here and I saw this facility, I was like, holy crap, this place is massive. And I walked through and I was just amazed. And obviously the biggest reason why I came here was the coaching staff, Coach Elf and Coach Wood and Coach Frost at the time, and just the overall culture here. So it was a good mix of both. I mean, obviously you come to a place for the coaches and the program, but the facilities are really nice, and that's obviously a big part of it.
I'd read you were a Ducks fan growing up in one of the newspaper articles from locally from where you grew up. Is that true? Like, and why the Ducks growing up in Northern California?
When I was young, I actually was a SC fan because one of their middle linebacker at the time, Ray Maluga, who was an All-American and everything like that, went to my high school.
Right.
But then once after he left in maybe 2007, something like that, didn't really care about SC anymore. And I mean, the Ducks had all their cool uniforms and they played really fast and things like that. So I was like, oh man, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I just started watching them, and it was fun to watch them and things like that. Wasn't a diehard fan by any means, but
Sure.
yeah, I liked them.
Yeah.
Once you get into the program, like I think they just released like new uniforms today that they put out or whatnot. Like, does it begin to just kind of feel like, all right, these are our uniforms this week, or is it still like, you get used to things after a bit of time?
Yeah, you get more used to it as time goes on, but it's always cool seeing what kind of new uniforms we get, or what kind of different gear, shoes, or things like that. Or like you get used to the facilities around here, but you always stop and think like, dang, I'm at this $110 million facility. I'm so lucky to be here. This is crazy that I play for this organization. So you kind of have to stop and think about it when you've been in this program for at least like a year.
It's not many programs that will make a specific uniform just to honor their strength coach.
I know.
Like that was relatively random.
Yeah. But you come a long way from playing in the Redwood Bowl. Have you ever played there?
Yeah, I played there.
What's that like? It looks so cool. That's where Humboldt State plays.
Yeah. My brother plays there at Humboldt State, but I was able to play there a couple times because Arcata High School, they don't have their own field, so they would always play in the Redwood Bowl. So I was able to play there two or three times, I think, in high school. I mean, it's a great place to play. It was like playing in a real college stadium. It was a real college stadium, so it was cool to play in a real college stadium like that.
I'm just imagining like a mist hanging over the trees.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what I'm.
Full moon.
Yeah.
It
It just looks like a pretty unique place to play football, just ringed by trees. I'm sure you're like, it's where Arcata plays.
Yeah.
But it's just from people who've been around and seeing a lot of college stadiums, it's just kind of cool to not see a cookie cutter grandstand on each side.
Yeah, it is really cool because, I mean, you have your two grandstands on each side, and if the trees weren't around it, it wouldn't be much of a stadium at all. But, I mean, with all the redwood trees around it, it gives the illusion that you're in a big, like a bowl, like it's a fully enclosed stadium. So it's really cool, and especially like what you said, when the fog rolls in, that's when it's just got this aura about it. It's an awesome place.
What's the one college stadium you want to play in?
Ooh. One of those Big Ten stadiums like Michigan or Ohio State.
110,000
Yeah,
people.
I mean, I don't remember how many Nebraska's seats, but
I think
that's
it's like 90.
yeah, upwards of 100,000. So I'm excited to play in one of those giant stadiums. I know it's going to be loud as heck.
It's crazy because like Autzen probably feels big enough when you guys are down on that field.
Yeah.
And just imagine that's essentially doubling it.
Yeah, it was like when we went to Michigan State last year. Obviously, I wasn't playing, so I didn't have the full effect of the crowd noise. But that was a giant stadium, and it was way louder than Autzen Stadium, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know what stadium, like when you're actually on the field, doesn't look super huge, but still sits like 100, whatever. You and I were talking about this, the Rose Bowl, because like it doesn't really go up. Like
goes outwards.
Michigan State seemed huge because it goes up.
Yeah.
But like the ones that go out, those ones are sneaky big.
Yeah, they are. I don't even think I've played or I've been in any of those yet. So, yeah, but it's the ones that are tall.
Didn't you say there's one going on at like the Motor Speedway or at a racetrack?
Right.
Talladega, I want to say. Talladega?
Is that today? That might be Ole Miss.
It's
Is
this
that-
coming weekend.
oh.
Tennessee, Virginia Tech. It's supposed to 150,000 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's gonna be good.
That's a couple.
Yeah. That's a lot.
You guys have I always like talking to the GAs because like these guys are like the lifers who really want to coach football because they're not getting paid any money to do it basically.
Yeah.
Last year you had Joe Bernardi, who was a character. I like talking to him. This year you have Ramson, Goal Passion, former Oregon lineman.
Mm-hmm.
Can you take me through the differences of those two guys? Because Joe was a fiery dude. That's why I like talking with him. What's Ramson like? He came from Hawaii. Obviously.
Yeah, they're completely different personalities. Obviously, Joe was a total fiery guy with a big, loud personality, but Ramson's a lot more laid back and chill. But he loves Oregon Duck football. He bleeds green and yellow, definitely. I mean, that's the first thing that he's told us when he came here is that, you know, I love Oregon football. That's why I'm here. This is the only place that I want to be, and I want to help you guys get better and help this team win in any way that I can. So, quieter demeanor guy, but he loves his Ducks.
You think you'd ever want to go into coaching after this is over, or you have something else in mind?
I'm not sure.
After his long and extensive NFL career.
Yeah, I'm hoping that I can be playing football for a long time and make that like a full-time career. But I'm not really sure if I want to coach or not. I mean, I'm not against the idea or anything, but I'm not really sure at this point.
Sure.
Who would be the best on the current roster? Who would be the best coach?
I'd say, well, offensive line, I don't really know much about the other guys or anything, but offensive line, I'd say Cam Hunt. Cam has just he's got a real football mind. He just knows a lot about the game, a lot about offenses and defenses. He's a real smart guy.
Is he getting tired yet of hanging out with so many young kids on? You know, he's kind of like the elder statesman.
I know, you might have to ask him. I don't know. He's the old man of the group now.
At the parties, he's gonna have to like explain, like, look, I know these guys are with me, but they're good guys. Like, just let them in. They're freshmen. I'm sorry.
No, we're redshirt freshmen.
Yeah.
Sophomores in school. Right?
Yeah. We've been here. Okay, last thing before I cut you loose. Great would always host an offensive line golf tournament for every season. Who's the best?
Doesn't sound like it went well for you.
Oh no.
Are you the worst golfer, and who is the best?
I would probably be tied for one of the worst golfers. There are some of us that are just awful. I might have. We played 9 holes. I might have only hit 4 or 5 balls in the air. Then they went. When I got them in the air, they were good hits, but most of them I didn't even hit them, or they went. You know, they just shot right, or they dribbled maybe 20 feet. But so now I'm pretty bad at golf. But who was? The best golfer was actually Charlie Landgraf, who's one of our newer offensive linemen. I don't know why he's good at golfing.
Kid.
Yeah, Jesuit kid. Maybe it's something about being a Jesuit kid. Because Matt Pearson was really good at golfing too. Yeah, he must have.
Pearson was good.
Yeah, so Charlie was good, I think.
You know, it's not a great cost efficiency if you go out there and shoot, you know, like if you're playing 9 holes, if you go out and shoot a 32, that's not a great dollar per stroke. You want to get in as many as you can, so you're doing it the right way.
Practicing for next time.
Yes.
Well, how's Greatwood?
Greatwood's pretty good.
Yeah?
But once
he lives on a golf course.
Yeah, he lives on Oakway.
Yeah.
We walked from his house to the clubhouse, and it was like 100 yards. So Greatwood obviously has a lot of golfing time under his belt, so he's a pretty good golfer.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, everyone's still chasing Hronis, I think, for the best golfer on the Oregon offensive line.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was really good.
Really?
A couple years ago. He and Marcus still go golfing all the
Really?
time. Yeah. Although
Nice.
his knee injury will.
Oh, yeah.
Probably put him back for a little bit.
Set him back.
Yeah. But, well.
Cool. Thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course. No problem.